Right. Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming along to have a listen to what we're doing. I'm Leslie. I'm from Harambee for Kenya. Harambee means all pull together, and that's what we're trying to do. Long story short, we've been running the charity for 10 years now, and we've been going to Kenya since about 1998 and working with scouts out there. The reason we started the charity was because we were concerned about the welfare of street boys in particular, as there are so many on the street. There are about 400,000 children on the streets of Kenya. And we just felt it was right to try and do something for the children first, to help them into the fold, to give them warmth, somewhere to sleep, an education and food. And then we would make them scouts, and that's exactly what our boys are. We have about 80 of them in 2 projects in Kenya, one in Kisii and one in Meru. Meru is near Mount Kenya. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a very short video to start with, so you can get some idea of what their life was like before. And then we'll go through how we're trying to help them to improve their lives now.
But we have umoja, unity, so we love each other.
As we drive through the streets at night, this could be the hustle and bustle of any town or city across Africa. But if you look closely in the piles of rubbish and the dumpsters of this town, you will see something unique to Kenya. Tonight, an estimated 400,000 children will be living and sleeping on the streets of Kenya. I am out this evening with a small charity, Harambee for Kenya, who provides safe houses for some of the boys who wish to leave these streets. I am led to a group of boys, many whom are surprisingly young, huddled together in the darkness. They play a card game for pennies and inhale glue from a small plastic bottle that they pass around. Tonight, the charity has found 2 boys, Brian and Vincent, both 10 years old, who have expressed a genuine desire to leave the streets and to restart their education again. After some discussion with the boys, they agree to leave the streets that night and to come back with us. As the van prepares to leave the noisy, boisterous town, 2 small figures sit frozen with uncertainty in the darkness of the van. I think to myself how often these boys' lives must have been filled with uncertainty and a constant threat of danger. As we work our way through the late night traffic, the boys back at the safe house prepare to wash and welcome their new brothers.
Now you'll see how the boys handle it.
Because of our love. So if the boys are taken from the street and they are coming in Harambee, so we show them love, that we love them, so that they can adapt in here, so that they cannot go back to the street.
We wash him, we welcome him because he's my brother. He's suffering as I was suffering there. So I have that mercy. I know how he was suffering.
So if we bring a child in off the streets, the bigger boys, because they've seen it done before and everybody does it, they all have their place. Some of the bigger boys get the fire going because we always burn the clothes that they were wearing before in case there's lice and things like that. Then the other bigger boys get the water and they scrub them down. Someone else goes and gets towels and clothes. Someone else sorts a bed out for them and a blanket for them to sleep on for the first night, on the first night. And someone else sort out something to eat and a drink. And they'll just all welcome them in and tell them what's going on and not to be frightened, because there's no doubt they are when they come in, because they don't know what to expect. And it's just something that we've always tried to instill in them, because they've been so used to being beaten, and we don't allow that here. Okay, take them into Lydia's house, and then you can put the mattresses in there, in the little room on the floor, with the 2 blankets, and then when they've eaten, they can be tucked in.
Many of the boys are in the street because some don't have parents, their parents are dead due to HIV/AIDS, neglect from parents. Some are single parents. Some just they are born out of wedlock. When the mother gets married, the father will not accept these children. So they find themselves in the streets. It's not their wish to be in the street.
That night it takes time for me to settle. I'm still struck by the 2 boys' vulnerability, and I wonder what thoughts must be going through their head, and how they will sleep tonight in a clean bed. When I wake the next morning, I see 2 very different boys, clean, looking more confident, playing like any other 10-year-olds. I can't express the joy I feel to see the boys safe and acting like any other children. Sadly, after 2 days, Brian and Vincent abscond and return back to the streets. The other boys tell me that this is normal, that they too returned back to the street several times before they settled, that this is part of the journey of leaving behind their chaotic lives and readjusting to a life free of glue and extremes.
Right, I'm sorry about the quality, but that's because of the light in the tent that we're in. But if you want to see that in full, you can see it online on harambeeforkenya.org, where you can see the whole lot and go from there. Right. This is now just to give you a brief outline, because we're looking at ways Scouts can get involved with helping these young people. But first of all, you need to understand a little bit about why we're doing it and what we're doing. So you'll see here that from this, with eating out of the bins, and this was not a posed photograph. The lad on the left is Moffat, who is the same lad on the right, after he had been with us for a little while. That was the night we found him. And he wouldn't come with us that night because he wanted to eat. He didn't believe that we would feed him. So they bought the bins out from the hotels, and he just dived in. The smell was something else, but it didn't seem to bother him because he was hungry. So that's what we are dealing with. So our aims as a charity is to help the boys become valued members of society, know how to care for themselves, be educated, and working when they are not old enough, having their own homes. We've succeeded in that. We've had a number of boys leave the house, and they actually are, some have their own children now, but they still have their own homes and they are working. So this is quite encouraging to us. We aim to help the Kenyans take responsibility for their children and help them to develop, showing love and care. This is important because it is not our problem, it is the Kenyans' problem, but it's very hard for them to sort it all out because it's on such an enormous scale. So if we can help them in some way and learn to educate and help the locals, we have 10% of the boys on the streets of each of the 2 towns we run from in our homes. And if we can succeed with one, we've done it. We've succeeded with a lot, which is really encouraging. And now we have 2 that are just about to go to university. So that in itself is an encouragement. But we need to help the Kenyans to take that responsibility. So we're trying to find ways to help them to help themselves, because it's important that they do the work. We want to know that Kenyans, to show the Kenyans that street children are normal children with needs who have found themselves destitute. This is so true because a lot of people don't think they're normal children, whatever that means. And they treat them very badly because of that, because they're on the streets and away from their families. We want to see our children develop into caring people who will in turn help others less fortunate than themselves. They will. One of our lads, Carlos, who's the one about to go to university, he's even found children on the street and brought them back to the house. So they are looking out and they are encouraging others to do the right thing. And it was also our aim that all our boys would become scouts. Well, we've achieved that. But we will achieve it again and again as they come in. They will become scouts in the Kenyan Scout Association, and we have our own groups, one in each house. So they mix with other scouts as well. And when it's the day at school where they have to hoist the flag for the opening ceremony, they wear their scout uniforms. So they are very, very proud of being scouts. That's Meru. This is in a village called Unkubu, which is where our project is. And at the moment we have 31 boys there. We have 2 bungalow-type houses there. One side is the living, and the other side is the sleeping. And we have someone that cares for them. That's Kisi. That was the first project. It's in a place called Nyakoi. And that is the Kisi project. You can see the whole project there. We have a 5-bedroom house, big room upstairs that they can do activities in. We have somewhere for the carer, Lydia, you saw in the video, to sleep. And then there's in both the projects, there's a small 1-bedroom apartment, you could call it, where we can stay and where the English Scouts that visit use as a base. And then they camp in the grounds. But we also help 12 other children in another village by helping support them and pay for food for each month, which is about £12 a month for each child, in order to help prevent them from running to the streets. And that's the prevention is much better than the cure, much easier. Our boys, they all go to school and they're learning to behave very well, and they're also doing extremely well. They're in the top half of the school, of the class, each class, all of them are. And quite a few of them, probably 10% of them, are actually in the top 3 and doing exceedingly well. In fact, one of our boys actually scored 485 out of 500 in an end-of-term exam, because they have to do exams every 3 terms. Every term, 3 times a year. And he had hit the highest score ever in any of the district, which is probably the size of Kent and Sussex together. So it's an enormous area. And then we have some older boys who go to secondary school. Secondary school we still have to pay for. They have said they're going to make it free. But as in most African countries, nothing is free. There's always something you have to pay. But if we can get most of the schooling paid, that will help. Because what we do at the moment is we have sponsors who pay for the children to go to secondary school and be educated. Games are fun. Yeah, we have to do fun because a lot of these kids have not experienced fun. They run shy of people because they've just been beaten so badly or they've been hit. In fact, Carlos nearly died because he was beaten so badly. He nearly died twice, once because he was beaten so badly, and the second time because he slept in the wrong place, and when the rains came overnight, they nearly washed him away. So he's really grateful for where he's reached because he could have died twice. But fun is important, and fun is certainly what they get. And all scout groups that visit our projects have so much fun with the boys, and the boys just greet them as if they've never ever not known them. It's as if they've known them all their lives, and they are so friendly. As you've probably seen from the Kenyans that are on site, they are really friendly people, as are most of Africa's people. They are friendly. So how can scouts and guides get involved? Well, various ways. You can get involved by helping us to raise money to help us feed the boys. It's important, because without feeding the boys and them surviving, we're not going to actually get any scouting done, or there's nobody for you to visit, etc., etc. Let's get down to basics here. We have to feed them. So that's a help. You can help us as a group or a section. You could actually sponsor one of the boys to go to school. That's about £300 a year. Now, we're all raising money in Scouts for our own groups, own buildings, everything that we need. But one sort of fundraiser or a couple of fundraisers where they'd often do little things during term time, during activities, just raising a few pounds here and a few pounds there. Surprising how much. And we can actually, more local people, we can do soapstone carving with you. We do that all the time. We come out. So by having a coaster, which we're doing this week, and you can join in, £1.30 to learn how to do the art of staining soapstone coasters. Of that money, that will feed, the profit will feed a child for 2 days. So it's valuable. Every single penny is valuable. You can visit the boys. That, as I said to you, they love it. If you turn up tomorrow, it's as if you've known them for life. And when you leave, everybody is crying. So have no fear on that one. But you can arrange a trip of a lifetime. We can arrange it for you. We have facilities, we have camping stuff, although we like you to bring some so we can pass it down to the boys. But there's projects to do, building bits and pieces, mending bits and pieces. There's always mending and painting. But the most important thing is showing love and having fun with the boys and doing scouting things, because they are scouts and they don't get an awful lot of different things to do as scouts. So while you're doing this, the scouts of all ages who can work towards badges and awards. So guides, I apologise, but if somebody could come and show me what your awards are, I could probably really help you know how you can gain some of your awards and badges. I heard this week they are changing the programme. Please let me know, because I can encourage you and help you in that. So I apologise, this is spurred towards scouts. But for instance, right, programme ideas. Are you ready? Look, starting at the bottom, as it were, creativity, fundraising. Your fundraising badge, community impact for Beaver Scouts. Then you've got your global issues. You've got Explore About. You've got Scouts of the World, international activity, and then, of course, Queen Scout. I'll just say one thing about the Explore About. I know that's changed. I know that you have to they have to do 2 nights on their own away from the leaders. We can organise it. If they come out to do the project in Kenya, we have safe places where they can go. We have a school for the disabled where it's walled, it's guarded, the teachers are on site, etc. But they can go and they can do their activity, work with young people. Our older scouts would even benefit from going with them to be able to enjoy that sort of quality of scouting. So they can do it. We can organise it for you, even out there. Which, how much more exciting can that be than to be going off on your own in a big world and having to do that bit yourself and get yourself there. But have no fear, we are very hot on safety, and it is not as unsafe as some people would believe. Then there's international trips. When you're doing international trips, the Team Leader Award, Scouts and Explorers, Teamwork Challenge may include raising money for this through all sections. So it may be that all sections get involved with the bag packing. There's nothing more than a few beavers helping bag packing to help the older scouts get in somewhere. People always seem to put more money in when it's the younger ones. So everybody can get involved in that one. But the main thing is to have fun. Because at the end of the day, I believe that's what BP wanted. BP wants everybody to have fun. Let's get the out back in scouting and let's do things and have fun while we're doing it. So what do you get from it? Well, you get fun, and you can see the fun on some of those faces. But you also get a newsletter, which we send out about every quarter. And you get updates and photos of the young people you support if you choose to support individuals. And indeed, in the newsletter, you're getting news and updates on all the children, a lot of the children anyway. You get help with planning your Kenyan trip. We can help you. 20 years experience. I can give you a outline plan right now within 5 minutes of a 2-week trip, which will include visits to safari parks, animals and things like this, meeting the locals, being down to earth with the locals as well. And you can have experience meeting new people, not only scouts but others as well, making new contacts, new friends, and of course, having fun. So we are Harambee for Kenya UK and a Harambee for Kenya NGO, and we're dedicated to helping the street boys of Kenya to become valued members of society. So, are there any questions that you might have? Yes, hold on.
Could you explain to us why there are no street girls?
There are street girls. They are literally street girls. But there are more street boys, put it that way. We actually, as a Harambee for Kenya, we are helping girls, impoverished girls, as best we can. Some of the girls will be taken in by others. So it might be that a friend of mine might take in a girl because they're destitute on the streets. One of the main reasons for that is because they find them easier, and also they are valuable because of the dowry system. And I am not speaking out of turn here. I've spoken to my Kenyan friends. I've spoken to Charles, who's on site, and also we know Masai Chief Joseph, and we've spoken to him, and he's agreed with us that the reason there are more boys on the streets is because of the dowry system. Because girls are of a commodity that are not sold, but their dowry is paid for when they get married. When a stepfather steps into the brink of looking after another person's children, they will willingly look after a girl, but they will not pay out for a boy because it's not his responsibility. They are not my children, is what they say. And they will not prepare. Now, that is not just paying a dowry, that is paying their education as well. So they can't afford much. They're not likely to pay the secondary education for a boy. A lot of girls, primary education ends in end of year 8. There are an awful lot of girls and boys who do not go through secondary school. If they get their primary education certificate, that qualifies them to get a job. If they don't have a primary education certificate, they stand little chance of getting a job. So secondary education is only seen for those that can afford it and those are bright enough to do it. So that's why there are more boys on the streets, because A, they've sort of been rejected, but also there's lack of food in the house. But the girls will be taken in because to do the normal chores that children do in Kenya, which we seem to have stopped with our own children a lot of the time, the girls will do it as a means of then having a bed for the night and then going to primary school and finishing that education. But with the boys, they're not prepared to take them on, and that they see them as a difficult commodity. Personally, I don't. I'm used to boys because I have boys of my own, but I can understand where people are coming from, but I just think it's really sad that that is the way it is. Does that answer your question? Good.
So what would you recommend if we wanted to do a Kent Scouts trip to Kenya and work with you?
Right, how long's a piece of string? Okay. The first thing is you've got to decide when you go. Now, it can be a difference between £500 to £800 for the trip. So if you wanted to come, you might consider coming out for Easter because the flights are cheaper. If you want to come in the summer, that's fine. First thing I would say is think about it 2 years ahead. Start a camp bank, start saving for 2 years, which gives everybody a chance. An estimation would be about £1,600 for a trip for a fortnight in Easter and probably £2,000 for the summer. That's if you manage to get your flights reasonably cheap in the summer. It's one of the most expensive countries in Africa to fly to, which is really frustrating, really frustrating. And what you can then do is you can talk to us, we can give you some ideas. We have 2 projects which are quite different. At Meru we have little people, quite little people, youngest is 5. And in the other one we have them, they start about 8 and go up to 21. There are different needs in both places. So we would look at what you've got. There's a group going out, Bromley are going out next summer, and the network are going to Meru, and the others, the explorers, are going to Kisii, and then they will join up in Kisii later. So they're going out for like a week and a half, a week in one, 5 days in one, then across to the other. You could consider, first of all, that you can do a project. We can't tell you what that project is until, say you're going at Easter, probably Christmas time before you go, because of the way things change and move and the exchange rates and everything else. But we can give you a guideline. It could be painting, it could be mending things, it could be erecting things, it could be mending fences, things like that. But the main thing, the very main thing, is that you will be with the young people and working with them and encouraging them, being friends with them, and actually being part of their enormous now family. But the other thing, as scouts, you can do is scouting things. So you can camp with them. You can camp on the grounds, or we can find a school you can camp in, therefore you know you'll be safe. And you can take the kids with you, the scouts with you, and you can do camping things with them, and there's nothing they like more. And you can try and beat them at football, but I don't think you will, because they work so closely as a team. They are winning all the cups in the area. But that's just a few things. But one thing I will guarantee you is you will go on safari and see the animals. You will go and see the elephant orphanage. You will go and see the hippos. And you will go and see the giraffe sanctuary, because I do believe that if you travel all that way for all that money, you must see it, because otherwise you may not go back again, and it would be wrong for you not to see it as it is now, with the wildlife as it is. Does that answer your question? But we're more than happy if you come and call us, and we'll give you some guidance.
Obviously, we've got this choice between Easter and the summer are probably the two options, really. What's the weather like over those two?
Right. Okay. At Easter, it's the start of the long rains. But don't be put off by that, because it gets so flipping hot beforehand. You're quite grateful to be able to stand outside and use a water slide and go up and down having fun in the rain. But if it's late, it gets very sticky and very hot. Their summer, with all the heat and the sunshine, is in December and Christmas time. It's their winter, but there's no real season, so don't worry, you're not going to get snow unless you go up Mount Kenya. But it's their winter time. Now, we camped at Neri. Oh, that's the other thing we can do, is we can get you to Neri to see BP's grave and PAX 2 and all of that lot. I mean, and you can invest your Explorer Scouts there, or your network, or whoever. You can invest people and have, and just do a pilgrimage, which a lot of Scouts do from all over the world. And we camped in Neri for 2 weeks, and we had drizzle every day. But then again, we were under Mount Kenya. Mount Kenya has its own weather, just like Ben Nevis does in this country. So, it's just the luck of the draw. It really is the luck of the draw. If they're short of water, it's going to be dry anyway, which is sad for them. But, others would say, well, at least it wasn't raining. But Easter's quite a good time, because the temperatures are quite good. It has been hot the last couple of times. We've been melting at 100 degrees. But there's plenty of shade in the projects, so you can get out of it. Does that help? Yeah, good. One more?
I'd just like to question about the children in the orphanage. So, assuming that as they go older and you're able to put them through university, you're virtually guaranteeing them a job at the end of it. Is there an expectation that they would then invest back in the orphanage itself?
Right, yes, I can see what you mean. One would hope they would. But just like with our own children, you can't make them. The way we look at it is, we are there just like parents in this country. We're trying to do the best for our kids. They come to a stage where they go. We've taught them everything we know. Well, maybe not. We've taught them everything we think we can teach them, in the hope that they will make the right choices when they go. And then they will go off. Now, we've got one lad called Calvin, who actually, if you look at it's a 30-minute, it's more of a documentary film that's on harambeeforkenya.org. If you look at that, that's the whole of the part I showed you. You'll have Calvin on there saying that what he wants to do is he wants to earn the money because he wants to open lots of Harambees. Okay? Which is really sweet. And Carlos, the one who's going to university, from the age of 10, he said he wants to work hard, he wants to do well, because he wants to be able to help and put back into Harambee what he got out. Now, he is one of 80 boys that has actually said that. And he certainly is doing it in his own small way, where he's bringing children in to try and help, but it's costing us money. But we're not complaining, because he's got the heart, and that's what it's about. But they all, I think, will do what they can. Some of the others that have already left, who in the nursery years of the charity, hadn't quite got that ethos instilled in them, but they've been back. Yes, some of them have come back asking for money to help them, which they haven't got, because you say, no, well, we'll give you guidance and we'll help you, but you've had help. Now it's your turn to do it. But we have seen them also helping kids on the streets. So in a way, they have been helping us, because if they can stop the kids on the streets, then that is helping us. Because in Kesey, we were shocked. Only a few weeks ago, we heard we are the only organisation in Kesey that is doing work with the street boys, which I think is disgusting. But what can we do about that? Nothing. We can only do what we can do. So yes, they are. And when you see the full video, you'll see the heart of these boys. And I think Jackie and Roger would agree with that. The heart of these boys is to actually try and put something back. You can hear it between the lines that they want to help, and they will help as best they can. And they will come back, because they are brothers. So they will come back and help. If nothing else, they can come back and help. Does that answer the question? Does anyone else have any questions? Okay. Well, I think we've just about finished there. Maybe slightly short of the 45 minutes, but that's fine by me. Hold on 1 minute. The computer's gone to sleep. It doesn't matter. It's only a sort of small thing I had to put on there. What I would say to you people, all of you, we're here for the week, just like you are. We're all locked in. We have to sign out. We have to sign in. So we're here. So come and see us. Come and talk to us. Come and find out about us. There are lots of other charities that need our help. Lots of other charities that need your help. And we're not trying to take anything away from anybody. But everybody has a different... there's a different season for things. So if your season is to do an international trip and you want to come out and help us, please do. It is an experience that you will see that changes lives of your young people, and it actually changes lives of the adults as well that have come out. And we have young people who have a true heart for some of the kids in our place, and they come back completely changed, having been banned from taking all electronic stuff because we don't want to tempt the boys into stealing it. Banned for 2 weeks from having any communication like that. They have come back and actually cut right back down on some of the things that they do. And it's just spoken so much to them about the plight of these young people. If nothing else, it's made them a lot more grateful for what they do have and for what you leaders and for what we do for them in Scouting. So thank you ever so much for listening. Oh, one more.
How are you seen by the local authorities and the government?
Right, thank you for that. Last question, I think it is, but anyway, we'll see. Local authorities and the government. Right, we've had our battles. There is corruption. But we know what the corruption is we're facing, and we don't bend to it. We've paid for things we needn't have paid for. We could have backhanded it, but we won't. Because on principle, we will not. Because at the end of the day, the first law of Scouting is everything. A Scout is to be trusted. We are being trusted with the money that people are giving us, so we will use it wisely. We keep it here, and we send it when it's needed. Local government have recommended that we are the best homes, have the best homes in the areas. We have a governor at Kesey who is totally on board and helping us, and they've actually helped us by supplying some food as well. It might not be everything we need, it might not be a lot, but every little helps, as the advert says. And in the other project, we have had high recommendations from people to the extent that they are bringing children to us, which has its difficulties because they're not actually giving us any money to help feed them, but they're bringing them to us. But let me just finish with this little story. when you have two little boys of 3 and 5 who are brought to you by the local government officer, children's officer, because they consider that yours is the best home for them to go to. But why have they come to us? Because their mother was involved with murdering somebody. Their father is in prison for 15 years for robbery. The stepfather was the person that murdered the person in front of the 5-year-old. And the mother, in order to try and run away, attempts to bury them alive. That is probably the worst case scenario. So why are we doing it? Because of the future of these children. Because they deserve a chance, just like all of our own children deserve. And thankfully, the local government have recognised us, and that's why they keep bringing the children to us and give us the extra problems that we have. One last question, I think.
So what responsibility do you have to the children?
Huh? Just a second. I see where you're coming from. The responsibility. Yeah, we care for them, we look after them. That's the responsibility of any orphanage. We don't call it an orphanage, we call it a safe house for one reason, because we actually have children coming to the house saying, please, can you help me? Okay? But the government have changed a lot of the laws, and one of the laws they've changed is that every home has to be registered, which costs us quite a lot of money to do, but we have actually fundraised for that separately. And Gift Aid, our government are wonderful, they've paid for quite a few things like that. And the Gift Aid has paid for that. But we have to be their guardians now. So now we are guardians. All the trustees in Kenya, which includes myself, Roger, and a lady that's here at the time, Jackie Parker. She's one of the Kenyan directors, trustees, call them what you want. We are responsible for these children. They are our children now. We have to go to court. We have to pay £10 roughly a child in order to register them with us. They are our children now. So we have that full responsibility of having to look after them. If one of them goes missing, we have to report it to the police. It's as simple as that, just the same as with our own children. It's more than it is fostering here. We're foster carers as well. But it's far more than that, because they are actually our responsibility totally. So now we have to do what best we can for them throughout their lives with us. And as most parents in this country, beyond. Because they're always coming back for more help, aren't they? Okay, well, thank you ever so much. I'm really sorry, a little bit higgledy-piggledy at the end, because questions come up as people think of them, and that's fantastic. That's how I like to work. Let's just respond, like we do with the Scouts. We have to respond at the time that it happens. So thank you ever so much for letting me talk to you. And please, come and see us on the stall. We're near the small stage in the village, Harambee for Kenya, with the Maasai chief. He's in our tent as well, and we would love to see you. Thank you.